in his purport, not only was Indra envious of Prithu, but somewhere along the line, Prithu became envious of Indra. Because Prithu wanted that 100 as a position. And therefore Prabhupada writes, they had to adjust the cause of their envy. And that's why they had to embrace. And that's why they had to settle their matter. So this is a very important point we should not forget. Ramchandra Puri in Chaitanya Leela, sannyasi, very exalted. But what was he doing? He was just completely, always extremely critical of all other sannyasis. He was critical of Mahaprabhu himself. That became his upadhi, that he was always finding fault. Don't think that even if we don't expressly say that we are finding fault with someone, internally if we are finding fault, that also Krishna knows. How can Krishna not know? And that will stop the advancement of our devotional service. We will just do the devotional service because we have to do it. I have to turn up to the temple. But that also becomes an upadhi. Oh, because I have to do it. Now I have to be part of a cooking roster. Why? Because Prabhu and Mataji put me as part of the cooking roster. It becomes an upadhi. It's a designation. I have to do it. What to do? You see. Then there are devotees who won't do it until they get a designation. You appoint me as head of the flower department, then I will do it. You appoint me as the person actually doing the deities, I must lead, then I will do it. That is also upadhi. That is also upadhi. You see the point? And one last point that we must remember. If you see Bhagavatam, many personalities were caught by designations. Kalia thought he was king of the lake. That was his upadhi. Shabari thought he was protector of the fishes. And he offended Garuda. That was his upadhi. And one last point that comes to mind. Sanat Kumaras and Jai Vijay. Sanat Kumaras cursed Jai Vijay because they were angry. Jai Vijay actually got very humbled and they prayed for forgiveness. But before that, Jai and Vijay were very haughty and they were angry. In Vaikuntha Loka, to be angry means you can't be in Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means you cannot be angry, you cannot be even, anxious or agitated. But Bhagavatam says their nostrils flared up, their eyebrows were raised when they saw Sanat Kumaras. So how could they be Vaikuntha Loka people? They were not. But the point is, they both conflicted with each other because Sanat Kumaras, they thought their designation was, we are free to see Krishna whenever we want. That was their designation. Jai and Vijay thought, our designation is we stop whoever who's going to come. Which brings us to the conclusion. There is a fine line between service and designation. Fine line. But how do we know the difference? When we are performing service, our consideration is what will please Krishna? What is best for Krishna? When we do service, our consideration is what will please the devotees? How am I behaving with the devotees? Am I hurting them? Am I agitating them? That is the mood of a servant. When we are in upadhi mode, designation mode, then we are not interested in what Krishna wants. We are interested in what we want. Sometimes, we hunger for something. So what happens is we cook that without thinking whether Krishna will like it. We want it actually for ourselves. That is upadhi. That is upadhi. That's the first thing my spiritual master told me when he explained to me this point of upadhi. He said, normally devotees, we offer such a great feast to Krishna. But actually we are not thinking whether Krishna, are you pleased? We are choosing the ones that we like. And then we offer to Krishna. Why? Because we need endorsement from him, isn't it? He has to bless it, then we have to eat it. Doesn't matter whether he likes it or not. We eat it anyway. That is upadhi. That is upadhi. So therefore, there is a fine line between both. And we should be very careful. Let us take this year to think about it. The last point I want to share with you is that there is a deep connection between service and capacity. Service and capacity. The squirrel in Ram Leela could only handle little pebbles. But the Hanumans and the Angadas, they looked at him and said, move away. Not necessary. You're impeding us. But Lord Ram stopped them. Because Lord Ram told them that you think that your designation is that you will build the bridge. But that is wrong. Squirrel also can build the bridge. He may not have your capacity, but he is using his capacity. And his mood is to please me, Lord Ram. Therefore, he is doing service. But if you stop him, you are doing designation. You see the difference? Next and last point. Hanumanji, in Lord Ram's Leela, he was supposed to get herbs from a mountain to save Lakshman. But he was not a pharmacist, neither was he a doctor. And even though the Vaidya told him it's on this side of the mountain, it's this color, that color, pick it up and bring it. When he went there, he realized he could not. So what did he do? He didn't use his intelligence because he didn't have that intelligence to find the right herb, but he used his capacity. He used his strength. He had strength. So he carried the whole mountain. He brought the guardian pharmacy over to Lakshman so that, you could find the herbs and he could just administer medicine to him. This is actually service. This is not upadi. You see the difference? So the Pandavas were so malleable to the will of the Lord because they had no material designations. And because they didn't lead their lives with material designations. It didn't matter to them where they were. It didn't matter to them what position they had. It didn't matter they were royalty today or they were beggars tomorrow. They knew that they could always perform devotional service whether they were in exile or whether they were in a palace. The exile is one upadi, the palace is another upadi. But it was not important to them. Because the only thing important to them was whether Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Whether they were using their mind and their senses for the service of Krishna. And one who does that, their mind and senses become purified. And it becomes free of upadis. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jai. Srila Gurudev ki. Jai. Ananta Gauri Vaishnavrinda ki. Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Are there any questions? Maybe one or two. Yes, Padmaradhika Mataji.
You mentioned the point of needed and wanted.
If I mentioned the point of needed and wanted.
So Prabhuji, you mentioned that whatever that is with us is needed, whatever is not with us is wanted, and if we keep moving for what is wanted, we may feel frustrated.
Yes.
But Prabhuji, in practical life, how do we, because there comes a component of determination also. For example, certain students practice for certain exams. If they didn't clear it in first attempt, they want to do second, third, fourth. So how to distinguish, Prabhuji, that what we are trying to get for is as per the will and is needed but not wanted?
See, if someone needs to go through exams, for example, to advance, that's needed. That's not wanted. If your job scope requires you to advance yourself and do these degrees, then do it. Because it's needed. But if it is not needed, for example, you don't need 10 cars. You may need 1 car. Why do you need 10 cars? So what is needed is needed. Some people may not even need a car. That's okay. So each one's needs is based on their capacity. And we shouldn't judge just because we don't have something, somebody has something, then we judge them. That is our upadi. That is our upadi. It's not their problem. It is our upadi. Sometimes I hear of devotees saying, oh, one devotee is very rich. He or she, has a big house. Why do they live in such a big house? Why can't they live in a big house? What is your problem with a big house? Because you don't have a big house, because you want a big house, that's your upadi. That's not their upadi. You see the point? So that's a very important point. Yes, Mansi.
Just one more guidance.
Yes.
The point you mentioned, sometimes we cook something, offer, because we want to have it and have that endorsement. How to get that clear? Like what should we really cook?
I think the real mood,
Yes.
I'm not the best cook, and I won't be able to tell you what should be and what should not. But whatever that we have to do for Krishna, the mood should be that we are doing it to please Krishna. So if you're going to make some preparation, supposing we come as a team to cook something for the Lord, for His festival, then we should be very cognizant of the fact that we're doing it for Him and for the pleasure of the devotees if He's pleased. If we have that mood, then whatever that is going to come out will be accepted by the Lord. If our mood is, I want to make the best cooking so that somebody comes and tells me, what a great cook you are, that's an upadi. That's an upadi. Sometimes we want to perfect something not because it will please the Lord, but because we have a reputation to keep. I'm known as the best singer, so I have to sing the best. So I keep singing. People all think I'm singing for Krishna, but actually why I'm singing for myself. It's an upadi. It's an upadi. Is that all right, Mataji?
Yes. Thank you.
Like for example, I see many devotees with beards. Actually, frankly speaking, Srila Prabhupada didn't want us to keep beards. He was very particular. So if you want to please Krishna, then it has to go. You can't just keep it like that and say, I am a Sadhu Baba. We are not in that line of Sadhu Babas. Prabhupada was clean shaven. Anytime you saw Prabhupada with beard, no. You will say, no, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had beard. Yes, but who is directly in line in our parampara? Srila Prabhupada, isn't it? So we follow Prabhupada. So these things we have to be careful. They're small, but they make a difference because they add up. Eventually we do things because of our own designations. We do whatever we want. That is very dangerous in devotional service. Any other questions? Okay, good. Oh, one more. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You spoke about will. So when do we distinguish when it is our will and we are persisting something, or it is Krishna's will? So how do we know this?
3 ways. Guru, Sadhu, Sastra. First, you align your will with these 3. What I want, is it in line with Guru? Is it in line with Sadhu? And is it aligned with Sastra? If it is in line with all of this, it is in line with the will of Krishna. If supposing something is happening, but you want it to happen in a different way, you may make some attempts, Mataji, to do it. But if your attempts keep meeting with blocks and obstacles, you can understand that it's not going to work. Then you know that Krishna has a different plan. And you prepare to move with that plan. Supposing you are going along Sriman Road, but then you realize there are blockades. You can't keep going. You have to make a detour and go somewhere. If you keep going, you will have to see the police. But if you turn, you will escape that. So we may try. But don't try until we are losing time and wasting energy. Some people say, Prabhu, how long must I try? Is there a formula 10 times, 12 times, 15 times? No. But common sense should be there. You know, if you're taking so long to do something, half a year have gone by and you're still persisting, nothing is happening, then why should we do that? The other way to understand whether we are aligned with the will of the Lord is to consult senior devotees. When you sit and consult them, you will realize that their wisdom is often very helpful. Because sometimes, Mataji, what happens to us is we are stuck in that moment. We can't see outside of it. But a well-meaning devotee can see it from a different perspective. But we must be malleable to the will of the Lord and the devotees. I have met devotees who will ask me one opinion, go to another devotee, same question to that devotee, go to another devotee, same question to that devotee, but that person will tell the devotee, Prabhu, I'm only asking you. I'm only asking you. After a while, 5 of us meet, 5 of us all had the same question. Now, what is that devotee doing? You're asking so many people, in the end they are not even following anything. That is also useless. If we want to ask something, be prepared to follow. Otherwise, better not ask and just go with your will and see whether it clashes with Krishna's will or it does not. It's a good question. Thank you, Mataji. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagvatam ki. You have all survived, and thank you so much for being here in the morning of the 1st of January. We pray to have many programs, and every one of us, please, when we go home, think of upadis. Think of what we want to really do. Don't be caught by that. Do you know, Prabhu, what happens now? We take darshan. Are we ready? Oh, we have a sponsorship. Okay, very good.